ropes and get going. Shout out to Easel Harding Athletic Director Jason Charlton. Solid job on the mic for their broadcast. Running it solo, no color. So
That's tough.
that's tough.
That's really tough.
If you can, it's impressive. So big shout out to him. But yeah, I mean, Christian Community, that was honestly a win they needed. Every team. That's kind of a dumb statement because a win for each team's win is a win they needed. But
no, some games are bigger than others.
some games are bigger than others, and that was one that they needed to kind of get a little momentum behind them, get rolling, and just get some. I don't want to say get confidence, but especially going into a game against Lancaster next week, who's unbeaten. You've got to kind of get those reps up and really get your identity. And I feel like they didn't maybe know what their identity was 100% coming into this year, and I feel like now they have their identity at this point. And it'll even be further solidified on Friday night.
I've said multiple times, once Christian Community's offense starts clicking, they're going to be a scary team to watch out for because their defense is such a good defense. As we've seen through the past few weeks, even though their offense hasn't been able to get going until these past 2 weeks, they were always still in the games. They haven't really been blown out yet, if I'm not mistaken.
No, there hasn't been a blowout yet. So James, the audio issues continue. We finally fixed it, and they completely missed all you said for the Evangel and South Haven game between you and Zach. So quick cliff notes on the.
What was going on?
Just wasn't for some reason on the.
Was my mic the only one not working?
No. For some reason on OBS it always goes to default, even though the USB mixer is the default. Sometimes it doesn't sync with that, so it didn't transfer anything.
So is it in like a silent show?
As far as I'm aware, somebody pointed out. Yeah. Up to that point, unfortunately. So.
Wow.
Yeah, we just missed it, and no one said anything, unfortunately. So,
boys, I say we restart the show at once.
Okay. Let's do a cliff notes here. First off, welcome producer Jack Helwig to the show. He makes his debut and everything. Congratulations, everyone. Let's give an applause to Jack Helwig for making sure the audio is working and everything. Good job, Jack Helwig.
It took me 20 minutes, but here we are.
And again, thanks to the guys in studio for for starting the show early for my sister's wedding. I won't go into the story because we're a little bit on a time crunch here. But anyways,
applause for Spencer's sister getting married.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Real quick. Okay, cliff notes of Evangel Freedom.
Tied at 14 at the half. 4 turnovers for Freedom in the second half. Evangel was able to capitalize, put up 22 points, pull away. Big win for Evangel. They're still unbeaten. Freedom, other than CCS, still looking for that big signature win. CCS was a big win for them, especially if CCS ends up making a run here at the end of the season. That'll kind of stand out for Freedom. But off next week. And got some time to kind of reload.
Yep, Evangel's got a divisional matchup against Lighthouse Homeschool. And Zachary, I'll start with you again. 50-14, South Haven got that victory. They've clinched a playoff spot. Your cliff notes on that victory for South Haven and what Lighthouse can do going forward.
Well, my bad. My mic wasn't below. I was yawning again. But
yeah, well, it's just a quick cliff notes on that as well. Anytime someone says that word,
we were having a really good show.
Yeah, we were having a good one, and then the audio was just cut out there again. Jack Helwig, everybody, Jack Helwig.
What a great debut, ladies.
Producer Jack.
What a great debut.
He's nervous. He's nervous.
It's okay.
That's all it is.
It's okay.
But
Zach set up the equipment, to be fair.
Oh, wow.
To be fair, it wasn't my day.
Wow.
Time crunch.
I'm just sitting over here minding my own business.
We all have too much fun here.
Drinking my Bang energy drink. By the way, if you don't know what we're talking about, if we mentioned Drink Your Bang.
Instagram.
Again,
Go check it out.
Show we missed out on. I feel really bad about this.
Like 20 minutes.
He's yawning again.
I hate to put blame on anybody here. I mean, I did throw Zach under the bus as he's yawning again.
you threw him under the bus, ran him over, then backed up.
But no, here's me looking at YouTube chat. I'm like, okay, things are looking good. Audio's coming through the amp. I was like, man, this is a really good show so far, right? And then
somebody texts us and says, hey, it's not working.
In YouTube chat, I turned off the "we will begin shortly" and everything. Think somebody would say something. 20 minutes of nothing.
Yeah, you would think someone would say something.
Somebody's got
Jack,
a super exciting.
It's my turn.
All right, so your cliff notes for South Haven and Lighthouse.
So rude, Jack.
He's walking out. You made it out of the studio.
But
hey, Zach. Yawn. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Are you for real?
Yeah, it's a trigger thing, dude.
Oh, goodness.
I can't control it.
Okay.
I learned that last
Let him
semester.
finish his cliff notes here. We're on a
Can't
rush.
Stop the feeling.
Okay, so Lighthouse South Haven, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. With South Haven, it was a good. It was a. James, stop making me laugh.
My bad.
Uh,
I'm
so
gonna check my fantasy.
with,
The day we're on a time crunch.
Yes, the day we're on a time crunch, things keep.
We wouldn't have been on a time crunch if producer Jack hadn't.
Yeah.
okay, go. Okay, Lighthouse. It was South Haven. It was a good job for them bouncing back. As because they had a great first. They had a great 3 quarters against FCA. Just weren't able to finish it off. Good for them. Played a complete game last night. And for Lighthouse, what was big for them is even though they lost last week, they get this bye week. And as we mentioned, South Haven's is struggling right now getting enough players to come out and play.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
them having to play a game this Friday goes is another game where hey they may have another injury or
Mm-hmm.
like another thing I said last night against the Heat they were able to play all 4 quarters, but if you look against Lancaster, they had their hands on their knees because they just didn't have subs.
Mm-hmm.
So them being able to have those extra guys last night was able to help contribute them to keeping them healthy, more healthy throughout the game.
Back up to what? 20 guys. Got 20 guys on the roster. Yeah.
20 for Lighthouse, right? Yeah.
No, for Sacred Heart.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the Sacred Heart thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any cliff notes for you, James, on South Haven Lighthouse?
South Haven just able to jump out to a big lead. Obviously we saw what they could do against FCA. A little bit. It's funny because you look at we'll talk about it in a second. The Riverside Lancaster game, Riverside up 20 points, gave it away. I actually told somebody last night. I said, look, everyone's giving up 20-point leads this year.
Yeah.
And
that comes in part to the lack of conditioning in the offseason.
It's crazy. Just everything that comes with it. But obviously a big win for South Haven. Kind of that was the performance from South Haven that we all thought they would have. And for me, it's what I thought they would have last Friday night against FCA, and they started to have it, and then didn't finish the game. So, a good solid win for Lighthouse. You just pack it up and listen. You're off next week or this week. You've got extra time to get ready for Sacred Heart. That game's going to be for the last playoff spot. Just win, baby, win.
Another thing is
Who said that?
those games that you're supposed to win are sometimes the hardest to win because it's hard for you to get up the motivation that you would for a game such as going against CCS or an FCA.
Snoop Dogg said, "Just win, baby, win."
Jeez. So for South Haven, as we mentioned before you guys here, they have an out-of-conference game at the Bowling Green Warriors next Friday, and then Lighthouse, they have a bye week before they have their game that more than likely is for that 3rd slot in the postseason at the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. Cliff notes on CCS Ezel. Again, CCS got the revenge on Ezel Harding from the state championship and from the regular season last year at the 36-18 victory. But, James, your thoughts on that matchup from Antioch?
Really, you didn't know what to expect from CCS. 2 losses, one to the Heat. The Heat had to come back, but weren't able to finish that game. Freedom, you weren't able to finish that game. Sacred Heart, a big blowout win against a team that's struggling. You really didn't know what to expect from CCS. And then going into Friday night, even at one point in the game, it was 28-18. And Ezel Harding started knocking on that door again. And you kind of thought, well, maybe CCS can't finish it, can't close it out. They closed it out on the road against a team they'd never beaten, able to make it happen. Excuse me, that's the bang. Able to make it happen and pick up that win. And that was a win that they needed to build that momentum. I don't feel like a win against Sacred Heart really builds momentum. I feel like a win like Friday night against Ezel Harding really puts some extra wind in your sails going into a game Friday with Lancaster, who's unbeaten.
Yes, a game against Sacred Heart. Usually what you do is you go up early. If you get up early like you're supposed to, you work on stuff for the next week. You start going ahead and start game planning.
Exactly.
So that's why sometimes you see teams score 40, 45 points in the first half and only score maybe 6, 7 points the rest of the game.
Well, and you want to give your bench guys
You don't get your bench guys.
experience, too.
Yes. So And most of the time you have people like, oh well, why are you guys still in? You're going ahead and you're game planning starting early for the next week, and going to CCS winning last night or Friday night. That's big. Being able to finish off games, and that's what their problem was against the Tennessee Heat. They weren't able to finish off that game, and being able to do that because they're a young team, as we've mentioned before, they're a young team, and they're starting to come into a form to a team that's gonna be a tough out in the playoffs.
And CCS being able to close that game out Friday night, that really plays into well for Lancaster because you look at Friday night's game with Riverside Lancaster. Lancaster able to come back from 20 points down and finish the game and pick up the win. So if you're CCS against the Heat and Freedom, you weren't able to finish. You weren't able to close it out. You were able to close it out Friday night. Again, that's a big momentum builder going into Friday night against the Lancaster team that they've shown they can be dangerous and they can make things happen.
Yeah, that dangerous team. We're going to get into their highlight in just a few seconds.
And for Ezell Harding, obviously, big overtime win last week or 2 weeks ago, and then the win against the game against CCS. A couple injuries early really set them back, and they were having to make do with what they had. But going into next week, you've got to put this game behind you and just focus in. And thankfully nobody's really seriously hurt for Ezell Harding. And, that really, really bodes well.
Yep, for Christian Community, they get that victory at Ezell Harding, and they head back home to May Flanders Field for a rematch of last year's regular season game that we covered between the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights. And for Ezell Harding, they continue their trek. They have their second division. They have their second playoff seeding game. Hosting the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons.
Goodness.
Now we get into the.
Sorry, I just saw the Rams.
Here's the Rams-Eagles score. Now we get into the barn burner from Fayetteville. 58-50. Lancaster Christian may have just solidified their number one seed in the playoffs with that win, but it all depends on how everything shapes out there. But Riverside Christian, as you alluded to many times, they were up 26-8 at halftime, to my knowledge.
28-8.
They were up 28-8 at halftime.
20 points.
And Riverside had this stronghold, and Lancaster kept crawling back, and they fought with adversity. They fought with heart. And Riverside, they had the same thing. It was just that Lancaster, at the end of the day, they got the W, but there's nothing for either side to truly be ashamed of.
Well, Lancaster able to put up 34 in the third quarter. I'm looking at the score at halftime, 28-8. Everyone's texting me going, yo, what's going on? And I was like, it's a bizarro world. Then all of a sudden, third quarter, touchdown Lancaster, touchdown. I'm like, okay, here they come. Now we got a ball game. 2 touchdowns for both teams in the fourth quarter, just trying to make it happen. Lancaster, now they've won both types of games. They've won the blowout that they were supposed to, and really that they were I picked them for Riverside to beat Riverside. So I consider that a game that they were supposed to have won. They struggled with it. They still finished, and that's a huge morale booster going into a game against Ezell Harding, a team that you did not beat last year. That's something that you can carry into that, especially when you're going to play at Ezell Harding, correct? That game's at Ezell Harding. So, you're not a long trip, a couple minutes up the road. But that's something where if you beat Ezell Harding, that's 2 divisional opponents in a row, and that pretty much locks you into the playoffs.
Yep. Anything to comment on that game, Zach?
I've said last night and Friday night, Lancaster's offense is never out of a game. They have such a quick strike offense that no matter what happens, like they felt confident in themselves. I bet, even though yes they were down 28-8, but that's 2 weeks in a row they've scored at least 40 points in one half. So
yeah,
but they need to be cautious. They can't go down like that every game. Exactly.
That's going to wear on you.
Yes, it wears
eventually
on you.
Down the road.
Yes, and well, I'll get to that later. I'll get to it later.
I do want to give a big shout out to Crutcher Ezell for Riverside Christian. 15 carries, 200 yards, 2
player of the week last week.
2 rushing touchdowns, defending player of the week. Had 5 catches for 123 yards, another 2 touchdowns. So a 4-touchdown night for Crutcher Ezell. Just a solid night overall. For the young man, for the senior. So just a shout out to him.
might get another nomination. Who knows?
He
But
might.
For Lancaster Christian, with the win, they go next week on the road to the Christian Community School Colts for a rematch of not just the playoffs the last several years, but a rematch of the regular season last year. And for Riverside Christian, even though they have an 8-point loss, next Friday they travel up to Franklin to collide with Franklin Classical School for their second divisional game of the season. And the game we were at Friday night, first things first, want to thank Providence Christian Academy for their hospitality and their incredible work to make our job easy. They had nothing to do with the Verizon hotspot being bad. It was just bad connection on there. We know some of the stream is salvageable, not all of it, but some of it is. And fortunately, that's just the way it was on Friday.
That's what you get for doing small. And this isn't downplaying anybody, but it's smaller schools with. That most of the times they don't have press boxes with built-in Ethernet or Wi-Fi, which a lot of your TSSA schools have. It just comes with the territory, and we know that. We accept it. It happens.
They are running Ethernet out there in May. At least by May, they're going to have internet out towards there. They've got the pipeline for it at Providence. They just didn't run the cable, I think, because of COVID over the summer. They were planning on doing it.
Sometimes you do a game from the back of a pickup truck on an in-real field.
We're going to do that. We're going to do that later this season.
It's coming up later on in the season.
Yeah, we didn't do that last year. We did it in 2018, but we're going back to Bowling Green at some point later on. But that's besides the point. The game itself, 35-16, Franklin Christian. This game doesn't impact the playoffs with Providence being ineligible, but this is one of those games, Zachary, that for Providence Christian, they were up 16-15 going into I believe it was either halftime or third quarter.
Third quarter. They were down 15 to nothing.
Yep, third quarter. Down 15-0. They came back 16-15. And then Franklin Christian, just the adversity that Tim Johnson and his guys show. It's a sign of a good team is when you're down, even though it's by 1 point, to push through and try to make it back. For Franklin Christian, Tim Johnson has got a great bunch of guys that he's training up to be successful. And going into their divisional matchups later on, it's exciting to see what this Franklin Christian team is doing. It's even more exciting to see what Providence is going to do in their first season.
Yes. And like we've said, there's a difference between being in shape and being in game shape. And that's what really wore on Providence at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that Coach Ferguson did the wrong thing.
No, it doesn't. No. I don't think it reflects any on Coach Ferguson.
No. It's just the fact that, yes, FCA's played a couple of games. So them going out there and having their first game and them showing like that, showing how much heart they have.
Exactly.
And that whole sideline, the whole sideline of Providence was completely full.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if they came out in support, and it's going to be an interesting season. They have talent.
Yep. They have the talent, they have the support and all of that.
And they have coaching.
Oh,
they have great coaching. You go out there, FCA is well coached, completely. And you could see that. And for Coach Ferguson to overcome and his team to get them back up, haven't scored a touchdown or anything in this. Their whole history of the school haven't done anything, and for them to come back and score two in a row.
And have that type of game.
Yes, have that type of game.
It could have gone so much worse.
Yes.
Yep. Thoughts and prayers, obviously, with the coach that went down Friday night.
Yep.
Found out he had a knee injury. So
he had what we were told by Coach Ferguson is that I think it was when they got their second touchdown, he was jumping up and down, and he just came down too hard. And the coach had a prosthetic leg, so he just came down too hard on it and fell down, and so he was, of course, carted off. So all our thoughts and condolences go out to him and his family. As far as I'm aware, he's still I think he's stable now.
Yeah,
haven't gotten a recent
further,
update on that.
I don't really have an update on that, but like I said, for Providence, great turnout. Could have been so much worse of a game.
Yeah, it
could have struggled so much more.
Could have been a lot worse. But congratulations to them on getting their first touchdown in their program history.
And you know what? I'll give this to FCA. They've proved me wrong this year. Twice now. Twice.
I was walking to the restroom after the game, and shout out, of course, to the nominee last week. As I was walking towards the restroom in Providence, Zach Dooley, still in uniform, walking towards the locker room, and he looked at me and said, "Now, who had us winning 2 games this year?"
What
hey,
now,
it
funny. I had them winning 3.
Actually,
yeah.
They can still only win 2 games.
Exactly. That was the funny comment Jack told me when I came back and told him that. He's like,
enjoy these 2 boys. It's all you get on the
exactly. Yeah, that was the funny comment. Jack was like, I would have told him, yeah, these are only 2 games you're winning. Just a joke, of course.
It wasn't me. I have them winning 3 games. So I don't know who you talking to.
Kudos to FCA as well. That atmosphere Friday night, it's tough to overcome sometimes. A big atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because they went up 15-0, kind of like, oh yeah, we got this, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, here comes Providence Christian, scores 2 touchdowns, takes in 2-point conversions, goes up 16-15, and all of a sudden that crowd was into it. They're all on top of the field and everything, and for
they were
them
rocking.
to methodically march down the field and score a touchdown and regain control, it just shows how good and how what the leadership is on that team.
And that's 2 games where they finished.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You know, South Haven, they had to come back, but they finished it out. They shut down South Haven on that last drive. You know, Providence able to come back, take the lead. I mean, that's 2 games in a row in the third quarter. Providence that FCA's opponents had the lead, and then they were able to come back and win it. So, shout out to Franklin Christian.
Yep.
A lot of grit and good coaching from Coach Johnson.
Yeah.
Hey, can we give a round for our boy for his interview with Coach Ferguson?
Thanks. Yeah, that was
Good stuff.
Yeah, so
listen to it if you
we're not
haven't.
doing interviews for the rest of the season on Extreme Radio unless they're in studio, just because of the equipment issues that we've had. And I don't know which coach we'll be interviewing this week. We'll get squared away, but that'll be recorded on Monday, and then we'll post it on Friday. But in regards,
We're going to go with the box of chocolates approach for the interviews.
yes, we are. You
Never
never know
know
what
what
you're
you're
going to
gonna
get.
Look at that.
Franklin Christian,
twinsies.
congratulations to them on the win. They have their first playoff implicating game on the road against Ezel Harding. And as for Providence Christian, their first game in the books, and now they have their second game. Their only other home game of the year, hosting the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights on Friday night in the lights. They're really incredible for them. All right, the 2 Saturday games. We'll cover the first game we were not at. We only got halftime and final game score updates from that. But Franklin Classical School got the W 56-16 against the Bowling Green Warriors opening game for the season, and it shows how young the team is for Bowling Green. But for Classical, congratulations to Isaiah Austin on getting his first win as a head coach. But for Bowling Green, especially with all the turmoil they've had in the offseason with the school merging and then realizing they have to play as a club team and all that, it's certainly been tough for their program to get to this point, but their first game in the books, and they got some more coming up. But again, congratulations to Classical. And I talked to Coach Austin after the game. He got dumped with ice water after it. So
Yeah, I saw the video.
I called him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm shivering because I'm
Saw
just
the
cold."
video.
So
Love seeing Eli Cornett back on the field. Completely unrelated to the game, I do want to mention this. You folks got to help us out with the updates, please. Please. We can't be at all these games. Please help us.
it's
Anyways,
either that or sign up
you
to
don't
be
have to.
either that or sign up to report on the Tennessee High School football.
Yeah,
app. One of the
Do
two.
it. Do it. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, big win for Classical. Bowling Green, you kind of knew they were going to struggle. You know, they had a good showing last night for the most part. Some mistakes here and there, but for Classical, just another win in their cap, and you know they had a good game against Ezel Harding. You know, didn't pick up the dub, and to kind of get this one, but that was. I feel like that wasn't like a morale draining game against Ezel Harding. Like it was like, okay, we've got it. There was one little thing that we just couldn't get. And this is the kind of win where you say, all right, boys, here we go. We're on a roll. We're 1-0. Let's get it going.
Yep. Bowling Green, they take the loss.
Well, they're not 1-0.
Yeah. Bowling Green, they take the loss. They will have another home game next week hosting the South Haven Christian School Patriots. And as for Franklin Classical, they have their second playoff scenario game at home at Fred Lane Field hosting the Riverside Christian Academy Knights. Another jousting match that we'll see.
Oh, stop with the jousting.
Another jousting match we'll see.
Okay, listen, I don't
football.
like when my phrase, but I digress, is taken. Oh, it's not my phrase, but when my phrase is taken, don't take other people's phrases.
Whose other phrase was the
You know who I'm
jousting
talking
match?
about.
I don't know who else's phrase was the.
You know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
He's gonna go call
I
me
honestly
over here.
don't. I honestly don't.
Oh.
You'll probably tell me off air. Anyways,
Airplane.
Mode?
no, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Anyways, the game that we were at, Tennessee Heat 54, Sacred Heart 8. So Sacred Heart got their first touchdown of the year, and the Tennessee Heat, after a tough loss, we talked with Coach Scott prior to the game, Zachary, and he mentioned he mentioned in his opinion that Webb fundamentally, even though they're 11-man, they look like Ezel Harding in the way that they still fight back. And he mentioned that his guys in that game against Webb, they decided to step up in the second half And at least for the Tennessee Heat, especially on homecoming night, they decided step up early in the first half, get it going, and they managed to shut down Sacred Heart for the most part.
It wasn't just against Webb. They've done that every game this year. Going into last night, they didn't really play in the first half, and it killed them last week. Like we said on the show, yes, it's good to keep winning games and stuff when you're down. But like you said earlier, it's draining for a team to have to keep coming back from that.
Yep.
And for them to last night say, hey, look, we are the better team. Let's go out there. Let's show what we do.
Let's play like the better team.
Let's play like the better team. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, in my opinion, every game this year that they've played, they've been the better team.
Yep.
They're probably one of the best, if not the best team we've seen all year.
Anything to add,
We just
James?
haven't seen Lancaster. Yeah, I mean,
we did see Lancaster. Lancaster Sacred Heart.
that's right. You're
So
right.
we saw them once. We haven't
I've
seen
slept since then. My bad.
Yeah, we haven't seen them against one of their division rivals in the stacked South, so we haven't seen that yet. But
Right.
we have seen
Yeah, I
them.
mean, you knew it was going to be tough for Sacred Heart. Not having played last year, coming back, trying to restart everything. A little bit of a learning curve not a learning curve, but a playing curve for them. And obviously the Heat on a roll. They've played for this is what their 5th straight game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sixth straight game.
Yeah, they as far as the schedule I've seen, I think they have 2. I think it says on the master schedules they have 2 bye weeks coming up, but I feel like they picked up some games in between now and then.
I think they do have the bye weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they've just it's one thing when you have a bye week and then you have to try to restart. Like it can be restful, but at the same time you gain a little bit of rust. But for the Heat, they've kept going. It's like if you're like working out or something, like you get warmed up, and then all of a sudden you cool back down, and then you have to get going. The Heat have been warmed up and they've been rolling for the last few weeks, set last night was no different. So big win for them. I mean, this is honestly, I'm thinking back, even when I played, this is the best season the Heat have had in a long time.
Yeah, it is the first time they've started on there. I don't know if we checked the official stat line on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the first time.
This is the best start they've ever had.
I'm pretty sure that's the first start they have ever had 3-0. Pretty sure it is.
100%. They've never started 2-0.
By the way, I do want to correct myself on here. The Heat did pick up several games. They don't have the 2 bye weeks. They host the Freedom Cowboys on Friday. They picked up that game. And their bye week is October 2nd.
Okay.
So they did pick up a game against Freedom, so apologize for not updating that on
Come
our
on,
end, but
Spence.
Wow,
that's
Spencer.
on me. Give a clap
We're
for me.
all
Give a clap for- give
all
a
right,
clap
we're
for
all
me.
dropping the ball. Spencer did that. The show didn't start out great, and then I forgot I didn't do a game logo
You know what?
for the game last night.
I think it was a
Zach?
very successful bounce back.
And
That's pretty
that's
successful,
true.
yeah.
And Zach just yawns when you say yawn.
There he goes again. Oh, this is going to be
my God.
this is ammunition to use for the rest of the season. It's not good for Zachary.
If we want Zach to shut up, we just.
You just say the word. All right. So the Tennessee Heat.
I really want to know
That
the
was a big one.
psychology behind that.
I don't know.
It's something with that. Anyways, there's probably something to it.
there-
Congratulations to the Tennessee Heat. They got the win. They host the Freedom Cowboys next week in a preview of the Independence Bowl. And for Sacred Heart, they're for Sacred Heart, unfortunately starting out 0-3, but they have a game on the road against Providence Christian next Friday. You can hear.
Touchdown Titans.
Johnny's having himself a
Johnny.
Is that Johnny?
That's Johnny.
You're welcome.
There we go.
Right here.
All right,
Who was
all right.
who was the other guy you
Evan
asked?
Ingram. Evan
Okay,
Ingram.
he said Evan Ingram or Johnny Smith. I said, yo, you got to roll with Johnny.
Well,
All right.
What's that? 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns, 3 catches for about
You're welcome,
80
sir.
yards already.
Well, Daniel Jones has a solid negative 1.8 points.
Hey,
so, yeah.
he's having himself a
And
game,
who's Evan
too.
Ingram gonna get the ball?
Anyways, so
All right. So as we said, we're not doing interviews on Extreme Radio until we can figure out what's going on with the equipment stuff. We're just going to do Extreme interviews each week, and we'll go with that. So,
you want to update on the pick'em for the belt?
oh yeah, what's the score on that?
It is.
It's like 10-6, I think, to a 9 and something.
I just had it. I had it written down.
Yeah, they put it somewhere.
And we are leaving the Freedom Evangel game out.
Yeah, just because that one was nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it officially, or it was updated. So, it's somewhere on there. He said something. 10-5 to 9-6 going into Friday, and Who did he have? Who was?
No, I'm 10 and I'm 10 after last night. I am. Do you see it?
So going into Friday, it was 10-5 to 9-6.
Whoa, no, because I was 9-6 and he was 8-7.
You were never beating him.
No, I'm going by what was said.
After last night, I'm 12-5.
Okay.
And
I'm 11-6.
my opponent is 11-6 as well.
No,
You're the
So
same.
I'm a
as
game
him.
ahead of both
now
of
I'm
you.
tied for last.
This is actually one of
Hey,
my
you can
not
pick it up.
great seasons.
Hey, this is the time to pick it up. All right, so since we're not doing interviews and because we have 14 minutes, we're going to kind of rapid fire with previewing the games. Follow along
Wow,
on your
we do
helmet
have 14
schedules.
minutes.
Yep, follow. It's because we're having too much fun and because the audio was cut out at the beginning. But that's beside the point.
Zachary, you're losing.
we love our producer.
Yawn.
We love our producer. There he goes again. You're gonna make somebody resign mid-season,
The
dude.
dude's over here with a sour apple bang, and he's still yawning. To be fair, it was
Okay.
it was a very rushed weekend. Game Friday night,
Game Friday night, game Saturday night, and then had to get up early.
and then be here early. So
Okay.
Now it's still late.
Rapid fire time for the preview games. Follow along on your helmet schedules from top to bottom. Now, because of that game picked up between the Freedom Cowboys and the Tennessee Heat, the only team that is inactive this week is the Lighthouse Christian School Lions. All right, let's go through this rematch of not just the playoffs in 2018, not just the regular season in 2019, but also the playoffs in 2019 in the semis. Christian Community, Lancaster Christian, that one is at May Flanders Field. All right, you guys got to do rock, paper, scissors for who gives their picks first, as it always goes.
Oh, you won.
And finally, he
What
picked
about
rock. He
that?
knew. You going to defer as usual?
no, I'm going first.
All right. CCS Lancaster, who you
Thank
got,
you.
James?
Listen, Lancaster has never won in White House in
Not
2
yet.
games. They have not won. They struggle on that field. It ain't happening Friday, boys. Lancaster with the dub. Why you even ask me? I picked Lancaster going
I,
beaten.
I remember that as you were talking, I realized, wait, you picked
Lancaster with the
going
dub.
beat.
I think this week I gotta go with Lancaster because I just don't think CCS has it completely down yet as their rhythm and everything. But in the postseason, it could be different.
True.
It could very much be different. Both of you got Christian Community taking the victory. Again, Lighthouse on the bye. South Haven travels up to Bowling Green, Kentucky to collide with the Bowling Green Warriors. What you got, James?
The W will stand, not for Warriors.
For
but
Bowling Green win?
No, for South Haven win. I picked South Haven going beaten.
That's true.
Yeah, I just don't think Bowling Green has the athletes right now to compete with South Haven.
No, all right, you got something, Jack?
I know we're all doing funny things, but whenever you held up that W, I thought you were about to pull a Jameis Winston to eat a W first.
Did you eat the dubs? No,
All
but we
right.
ate some dope donuts brought in by
Oh yeah,
producer Jack.
thanks for bringing in the Krispy Kreme.
Listen, I made up for the difficult start.
That's true.
Yummy breakfast.
Well, that was before you.
You
knew
were
the start
building
was
up
gonna be
brownie
difficult.
points
He
for
was,
that.
He was building up for it. All right, both of you got South Haven winning. Sacred Heart travels to Providence Christian. Both teams who are winless at the moment, so somebody's going to exit out of that game with a W. Who is it going to be, James?
You know what? I'm actually picking Sacred Heart.
You're picking Sacred Heart for
I'm
this.
picking Sacred Heart to top Providence Christian. I know it's another home game for Providence. I guess it would help if I put the mic to where you can hear me.
Little bit.
I know it's another home game for Providence. They're coming off that tough game last week. I think Sacred Heart has just enough talent. I think they pull off the dub Friday night.
I am actually gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
I
All right.
I think what's killing Sacred Heart right now. If this was at Sacred Heart, I'm taking Sacred Heart. But the travel.
Yeah.
They've had to travel far for a lot of their games.
All
and
3 of them.
All 3
At
of them.
Christian Community, at Lancaster Christian, at the Tennessee Heat. So you go White House, Smyrna, Mount
And
Juliet, and now Murfreesboro.
With them not having the depth as most teams do, it's tough for them to go out, travel 2-3 hours to games, and then immediately be able to come out and be like, oh, hey, well, we're going to play a full game. So if it's at home, South Haven's fine because there's not that travel
Sacred Heart.
aspect. No, Sacred Heart, my bad.
Okay.
Sacred Heart doesn't have that aspect, but I'm going Providence here for
All
that
right.
for that reason.
All right.
All right, disagreement. We could possibly see you take another in the loss column, so be further
Why does
into
that
the
have to be a
tie for
loss?
last place.
No, he said for
let me
me.
finish. No, I'm
No,
saying
he's talking about me.
no.
Oh.
I'm saying for you, you could be your second loss compared to James on the year, or it could be you could tie up with James again with with that win loss. All right, and now Ezel Harding and Franklin Christian in Antioch. James, between the one who got the overtime win against the other Franklin team and FCA, who is unbeaten right now, who's going to take the win in Antioch?
Hey, FCA, I'm picking you to win. Here's one of your wins that I thought you were going to have.
I'm sure Zach Dooley will enjoy that. I'm sure.
Although, I don't know. I picked them to lose twice, and they won, so they might lose Friday night. But I am picking FCA.
FCA over you. This is a tough one for you.
Such a tough one.
Take Esau Harding. Come on. I'm like that hooded Kermit from the memes.
Just to give you some more context here, Ezel Harding has had one more game over FCA. They played at the Tennessee Heat, then at FCS. So now they're on a 3-game in a row homestand. So
I'm going blank. What was the final score last week of Ezel?
Ezel, it was 36-18.
They won, correct?
Christian Community won.
Hold on. Let me put my
Christian
hoodie on,
won.
bro. Hold on.
That's right.
I'm the hooded Kermit. Look. Zach.
He's doing that.
Take Esau Harding.
We need to get that as a meme. We need to send that to 7-Man Extreme, and they could do a meme.
Hey, 7-Man Extreme.
I
Y'all
am taking Ezel.
slacking. Y'all
You're
slacking.
he's
7-Man
taking Ezel.
Extreme.
I'm taking Ezel. I think it's
All right.
in Antioch. I think they
Big
get back on
facts.
track this week.
Big facts.
So you're thinking first playoff game implicator for FCA and the second game for Ezel Harding. If they get that win, that means that they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Division 1.
I think FCA and FCS are very similar in in talent, and I think Ezel has more talent. I mean, I think FCA has better individual players, but as a whole, I think Ezel's a more talented team, so I'm going to take Ezel.
All right, you guys are split on a split decision for that one. And Freedom travels up from Huntsville to Mount Juliet to collide with the Tennessee Heat at Charlie Daniels Park. We know James has already got him unbeaten, but this game was added. I don't know if you predicted it preseason. Is it on your preseason predictions, James?
No.
All right, then you're making the decision this week.
Oh, the Heat are winning.
Okay, you have a
I'm riding with the Heat.
Heat.
Okay, both solid there. Not even a debate for you guys. And the game we're gonna be
Hold
at.
on. Let me go hooded Kermit. Pick Freedom.
There's no way I'm picking Freedom. No way I'm picking Freedom.
All right.
Freedom just doesn't have the talent right now. They don't have the experience, not talent.
Experience, okay.
My bad.
And the game we're going to be at this week, Riverside Christian Academy travels from Fayetteville to collide with the Franklin Classical School Knights. Isaiah Austin will be under the spotlights in prime time for the first time this season, and so will Coach Travis Creasy. He'll be in prime time, and the rest of those guys. We'll see Crutch Rizal for the first time, defending player of the week. Maybe he's two-time defending, depending on
Well,
how
he
the
won't be
votes go.
defending by the time we get to Friday.
Nah.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
It might be two-time
Okay.
defending if
All
he
right.
gets voted again. It depends on if he gets nominated, first off, but second off, it depends on how the stuff goes. But
All right.
that's besides the point. We're excited to do Riverside and Classical, and that could be a tie-turner for who hosts a playoff game in the South. It could come down to one of those two teams hosting it for second or third seed. It depends on who gets the win, but that's besides the point. Somebody's got to predict this game, and James, who you got?
Boys, I love Riverside. I really do. But
He's
I
going to
think-
pick Riverside.
I think Classical has the dub here.
Ooh, is that 3 games?
I'm taking Classical.
That's 3 games.
He's taking Riverside.
3 games what?
I'm taking Riverside. I think they bounce
Okay,
back against
all right.
Lancaster.
That's 3
Producer
games. where you
Producer
guys-
Jack?
Take Riverside.
He's got the hood on. He's like, Riverside.
That is true. Me and Producer Jack in hoodies today. It's hoodie weather. Yo, I walked out my door yesterday, and it was 55 degrees.
Beautiful
and
weather.
I said, hallelujah, walked right back in the house and grabbed a hoodie.
That's what I did.
It's
for,
beautiful weather, man. Comparing, so we had the FCA and South Haven game, and then Lancaster Sacred Heart. The amount of sweat that comes from having to set up all the equipment and everything, especially on the bleachers, climbing up and down those. It was nice to not have to sweat while setting up the equipment. It was really nice to have that this past weekend.
But there's
Both
other
good
side
games.
effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying there isn't. I wasn't cold, but
At least we're all on the
There's
same.
a lot of people going MIA. We'll just put that there.
a lot of
Zachary
people-
about 4 times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
He-
snap.
That's not uncommon though.
I just get nervous.
yeah. He
He went to go vomit.
Yeah,
Nah, not vomit.
yeah, but
Well, 5 minutes till we.
yeah.
Right before he said that, I should have said,
You should
If
have
I
said the
don't
thing,
say it,
yeah.
but you know what I'm about to say, does it happen?
Look into my eyes, you know what I'm saying.
No, it doesn't.
What if I what if I sign it?
Sign language? That's assuming he knows how to interpret sign
We're
language.
talking about that yawning.
And there he goes again. Oh, we're having too much fun. It's
Hey,
way
if
too
you
early in
read the
morning.
word, does it happen?
He's just nodded his head yes, so if he reads it, I bet
This is the greatest thing ever, dude.
no.
You're awesome.
It's the great.
You're awesome.
It's the greatest thing for you. It's not the greatest for the greatest thing for Jack too. But
Oh, goodness.
we're going to be at Riverside Franklin Classical on Friday night. Going to be an exciting game to watch, and we gotten through all our previews here. In the final
Is that
closing
really
minutes,
all of them?
yeah, that's all the games.
Wow.
Lighthouse is on by. Everybody else is covered. Well, let me make sure. We already covered CCS Lancaster, South
we got
Haven
'em all.
Bowling Green, Sacred Heart Providence, Easall Harding FCA, and Classical Riverside, and Tennessee Heat Freedom.
Boys, football is here and it's cold outside. It's
Football's
the
been here for-
most
we're-
wonderful time.
Of the year, we're in
Of the
we're in week 6.
year.
Football's been here for a while.
But it's the first week that football and cold weather have collided.
Who would've
That
thought
is
we'd
true.
be here?
But who thought we would really be here? You're
Who'd
right.
have thought?
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah,
Who'd
look
have
at
thought?
us. Look at us.
I thought.
Again,
Yeah.
7-man extreme. I'm calling you out. Pick your game up.
Yeah, do some memes. Maybe we need to send them some.
No.
We can do. You sent them
We're
a
not
few
giving
memes in
other
the
people
past.
Content.
But yeah,
we give
do
them
that
plenty
sometimes.
of content without actually creating memes and sending them to them.
Well, we
They're
can send them
They're
more.
gonna respond with a Zach yawning meme.
Is he gonna go again? There he goes. Oh, okay, James. Your usual shameless plugs, shout-outs other than your 7-man extremes. You mentioned that several times. Your shout-outs, anything.
Let's see. Go check out our Bang Energy Drink taste test on Instagram to celebrate 900 followers on Instagram. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much for that.
And thank you for all the follows on social media. Our social media has been exploding.
Yep, 715 subscribers on YouTube now, and still going up. Getting closer and closer to 1,000.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this out. When we get 1,000 on Instagram, we're gonna come up with something cool to do.
Yeah. What if we get to 1,000? Now, here's what I will say. James told me, because he saw me do it twice. James told me he is wanting to try the Pocky One Chip Challenge, and I've got
Did I
3.
say- yeah, I did say that.
I got 3 chips. One for producer Jack, one for Zachary, and one for you, James. So here's what I will say: if you could somehow get us to 1,000 followers on Instagram, and let's go
1,000 subs on YouTube.
your 200 subs. If you can get your friends and everybody 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end before the end of the
Hey,
season,
how about this?
we'll do the Pocky One Chip Challenge.
Let's-
I won't because I've done it
let's-
twice, but you 3
Let's
will.
do this. How about 1,000 on all 4 of them?
All right.
You give us 1,000 followers on Facebook, 1,000.
How many likes do we
followers-
have on Facebook? Though
500 something.
500. Yeah, 500 something.
1,000 follows on Twitter, and then
Let's see.
the same all around.
Facebook, we are at 560 people who have liked the page, but 588 follow.
You know why I'm not worried about this one chip challenge?
Why is that?
Because when we
Different
did the
breed.
blazing challenge, I actually finished it.
Yeah,
I
you
did
finished
too.
it. No, the
Big facts.
granted, here's the difference. The blazing, that's the ghost pepper. The one chip is the Carolina Reaper. A lot hotter on the Scoville. So
So shouldn't you have actually finished the blazing?
probably.
Yeah, you just defeated your own argument.
No. I'm saying for you because you said you actually finished it. You have to eat the whole chip and then
Oh,
you have to survive a longest time.
bet.
But anyways, yeah.
Bet.
But
Big
yeah,
bet.
I will be doing play-by-play for the guys who are doing the one chip challenge.
Producer Jack, what you got?
I would say it is 1:30. I think
Yep.
it's time for Spencer and Joy's.
I want
again,
to shout out
yes.
Steven Gostowski for having a good first half.
I
and,
mean, he
and Nat going
made it
0 of 7.
harder.
All right.
What?
Producer Jack, you got a shout out?
I do not. I just appreciate you guys debuted me today.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about the first 20 minutes of the broadcast, the laughs and memories, but I think we made up for
I
it.
It's a work in
I want to
progress.
shout out my fantasy opponent for playing Dallas Goddard and T.Y. Hilton.
Dude, T.Y. had a wide open pass in the
He
end zone,
did.
just dropped it.
Anyways,
He did. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thanks to the guys at studio for doing this way early. That's going to wrap up Extreme Radio presented by GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way, as well as Jets Pizza. Let's get Jets. For Zach, Jack and James, thank you. We'll see you for Riverside Franklin Classical on Friday.
See ya!